White Swan. Welcome to the mysterious Domain Movie Palace. Well, we have Barbara Steele's birthday on the 29th of December, so obviously I've chosen a film starring Barbara Steele. The most logical choice seemed to be the 1963 film The Ghost, because it's the sequel to the one I put up last year on her birthday, The Horrible Dr. Hitchcock. And this film, it's a little confusing because it doesn't look like a sequel, because the actor that's playing Dr. Hitchcock is not the same actor as was playing him in The Horrible Dr. Hitchcock. And also the look and feel of the film isn't really the same, but it does have the same director, which is Ricardo Freda. Now, just to recap, Ricardo Freda was an Italian born in Egypt in 1942, so I guess that was during World War II. And he moved back to Italy, to Rome, and began a 40-year career in cinema as a director. And he became famous for those historical fantasy films, like Hercules and all these things. But in the 1950s, he was the first director to create an Italian horror film, and it was called Lust of the Vampire. It came out in 1957. And even though he started the direction on that, it was handed over to Mario Bava to finish it up. So we'll be showing that one in the Movie Palace sometime soon. Then The Horrible Dr. Hitchcock. And now what else is interesting about him is he shifted his interest from historical fantasy films to these horror films into spy thrillers. And the thing to keep in mind when you're watching The Ghost is it's also more of a thriller than a horror film. It's got all that kind of intrigue that we associate with detective stories and that type of thing. And I don't want to do any spoilers. Spoilers, personally, I don't care about spoilers, but a lot of people get really, really upset if you so-called spoil the film for them. Because I'm not, for me, it's not an informational experience. It's more like I want to just go in the experience. And this is still kind of in the Gothic genre, if you keep in mind that the pioneer of the detective story was Edgar Allan Poe in his story, The Gold Bug. And of course, this was taken on full force by Arthur Conan Doyle in England with the Sherlock Holmes stuff. But it was Edgar Allan Poe that pioneered the genre, so we're not too far out. And anyway, it is the sequel to The Terrible Dr. Hitchcock. And of course, it stars Barbara Steele. Now, I don't know why somebody doesn't write a biography of Barbara Steele, because she actually has a kind of an unusual biography. And there's a lot more to it than what I can talk about here. She was born in Cheshire in England. Birkenhead. She was born in Birkenhead, Cheshire, England in 1937, of course, on December 29th. And she was an art student, so she wanted to be a painter. Then in 1957, she joined a repertory company, and then she moved to Rome. She was spotted by Mario Bava, who famously cast her as Aza and Katya in Black Sunday. That was the trajectory her career went on, because when she became a big hit in the United States with Black Sunday, Roger Corman saw her and he cast her in The Pit and the Pendulum. And you know what's really funny? The style of The Pit and the Pendulum is so different from the Italian Gothics that it took me a while to realize that she'd gone from Black Sunday to Pit and the Pendulum, the sort of Technicolor Roger Corman Poe thing, and then back to Italy. And she was then cast by Federico Fellini in 8½. And she had a small role, but apparently Fellini wanted to do more with her, but she was already contracted for The Horrible Dr. Hitchcock, which I think really kind of was a letdown for her. So anyway, she got typecast, and she was in The Ghost, and then she was in Castle of Blood, and my favorite, The Long Hair of Death. Nightmare Castle, all those ones. The last one she did was An Angel for Satan, and she decided to just call it quits on these films. And then she went to England with Hammer and did Curse of the Crimson Altar, and she was done. Even though she was with Christopher Lee and Boris Karloff. That film's in the Movie Palace here if you want to go watch it. But it's, for her, the role is not anywhere near as good as the ones that she had with Black Sunday and The Long Hair of Death and Nightmare Castle and those things, Castle of Blood. And, so she didn't want to keep going down that road. Unfortunately for Barbara, though, her presence, it's not just her look, but her presence is very underworldly. And she does have that dual nature of looking sweet and innocent on the one hand and looking really, cruel on the other. And she's really kind of born to play evil queens, which I don't think she ever got to play. I would love to see her play Lady Macbeth or something, But she ended up taking a long break and making, only getting bit parts in some films. And then she was, of course, in Dark Shadows in the 90s. I'm going to tell you about her role in Dark Shadows. I did not like her as Dr. Hoffman, and you can argue with me down in the comments. I wish she would have played Elizabeth, because if you look at the old Dark Shadows, and Joan Bennett plays Elizabeth, and she's very mysterious. She's more like Barbara Steele. She's very mysterious, and you don't quite know what's going on with her. And she's kind of elegant. She's very elegant. She's very beautiful. She's very, all the things Barbara Steele has. And even though her role was not as kind of spectacular, maybe, as some of the other parts, she anchors the whole show. She's the lady of the house. She's the anchor. And I think Barbara Steele was kind of wasted on Dr. Hoffman and would have been so much better as Elizabeth, and they probably would have given her more to do. Gene Simmons, I think, was a bit past it. And I don't know. I just think that would have been better casting for that show. Her secrets, and all that stuff. So anyway, that's just my opinion. You can disagree if you want. Happy birthday, Barbara Steele. I hope she has a wonderful day, for herself, and we celebrate here in the Mysterious Domain Movie Palace. Bravo, Barbara. And we're running out of films, I have to say, because what have I had on here? Black Sunday, The Long Hair of Death, Nightmare Castle, Castle of Blood, Crimson Altar, Angel for Satan. I don't know, I've had 7 or 8 of them on here, and some of them were taken down, which you can go find over on Rumble, on the Mysterious Domain Movie Palace on Rumble. You can go check it out and see what YouTube always takes down. So anyway, without much ado, sit back and let the curtains open upon the ghost. If you would like and subscribe, that would really help the channel. And if you want to support me, I have a link to buy me a coffee in the description. And you can buy me a coffee if you feel like it. So I should have a buy me a popcorn or something. But anyway, I hope you enjoy the ghost. And happy Barbara Steele's birthday. Bye-bye.